Chair now recognizes Mr. Gonzalez for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, everybody, for being here today. I'll get to you, Dr. Carlson. I have a similar line of question. I saw your hand up. Just thank you, everybody, for being here. The topic discussed today is of great importance to Northeast Ohio. I share Madam Chair's sentiment that we need more science and technology development in the Midwest, where I'm proudly from. Research in the polymer sciences has allowed the University of Akron to become a world-renowned institution in this field, from the invention of cheap spectrometers to measure the amount of nutrients responsible for algae growth in local water systems like Lake Erie, to the development of materials to preserve proteins in medicine. These are just two examples of the incredible research and development that the university is conducting, but very important. So when I think of these technologies, I kind of think of three things, or three questions essentially. One, are we leading? Two, how quickly can we commercialize? And then three, how are we on security and maintaining standards across the world? First, Dr. Simpson, before we get into the bioweaponry. Carbon capture. Can you talk briefly about sort of what % of carbon you are able to capture and repurpose, and then how your technology has developed over time? So kind of when I started, it looked like this, and now we are able to do Y, if that makes sense.
So when we started our company in 2005, at that time our technology literally existed in a test tube. Over the intervening years, we've developed not only the biology, but the engineering allowing gas fermentation, and now offer, as a commercial package, a full industrial process allowing the conversion of carbon monoxide hydrogen, and carbon dioxide gas streams into fuels and chemicals. What does this mean physically? It's a facility that literally is like putting a brewery on the back end of, for example, a steel mill, comprising multiple reactors that stand around 100 feet high and are several feet in diameter, in which gases are converted microbially to, in the first instance, fuel ethanol, but subsequently we'll be able to produce chemicals in those same facilities. In terms of percentage of carbon, it really depends on the input gas. The more hydrogen we have in our gas, the more carbon in that gas stream we fix. For example, we are now constructing a facility that converts a waste stream produced by an oil refinery in India. In that process, 50% of the carbon in the product comes from CO2.
Okay.
At a steel mill, there is no hydrogen. Our process simply converts carbon monoxide into fuels and chemicals, and in that case, we convert carbon monoxide.
Got it. And then you mentioned carbon's doesn't have a price in China. And quickly, if we did price carbon, what would that do to your business model?
That would greatly accelerate our business model. I'll say that. But I mean, just to be clear, one cannot raise money on legislation that doesn't exist.
Right.
So as a company, we are out commercializing a process to build commercially viable plants today in the current legislative environment, and we are without reliance on a carbon tax. A carbon tax would be a wonderful thing for this entire industry, but we cannot raise money on that. And we are not commercializing our process on the basis of its existence.
Got it. And then switching to Dr. Carlson, so it looked like you had your hand up on the bioweaponry. I just want to turn you loose. So what were you going to say? Go for it.
Well, I was going to observe that science is a human enterprise full of humans, and humans are going to do everything they have in science that they've done throughout history, and they're going to make bad decisions. They're going to misuse the technology. My read on what happened in China is that the approbation was not uniform. There was some celebration by parts of the government before other parts of the government shouted them down. And I think what I want to observe there is that whatever standards we think we hold ourselves to are not the same standards, not the same decision-making process that other countries have, and they're going to go off on their own because they can.
Yeah, thank you. I tend to agree. When it comes to these sorts of technologies, I share that sentiment. Sure, there were some who later on maybe said, hey, we shouldn't have done this. Frankly, I don't believe that that's something we can trust and put our faith in going forward. So I yield back. Thank you.